Welcome back, friends. We are here in our ACP training, and we're moving into task 2. And task 2 is all about ensuring a common agile understanding. So, Roy, let's jump straight into it. It says, help ensure everyone has a common understanding of the values and principles of agile and build common knowledge around agile practices and terminology being used in order to work effectively. Now, this is Agile Certified Practitioner. I can only imagine that this is being addressed to us as the practitioner or the servant leader, right?
That's exactly right. And so you don't have to be a Scrum Master to be doing this, right? That's a Scrum Master is doing that as part of their job on a regular basis. But if you are an ACP, then you should be doing this as well. It's evangelize, educate, mentor, bring people along, because guess what? There's going to be a lot of uncertainty and fear when people are going through this. Team members may not be happy about it. They may be afraid for their positions. So part of your job is to facilitate that change management along the way. And as long as you've got that ACP, as long as you've got a good understanding and you are living the values and principles, then you can bring people along with you, encourage your organization to do the same, right?
Lovely. Now let's jump into a topic that is not in the Agile Practice Guide, but nonetheless, it is important that you understand the 5 values of Scrum. It starts off at the top here. We have focus, openness, commitment, courage, and respect. Focus on the right stuff. Focus on the goals of the team. Focus on the goals of the sprint. Be open, hold each other accountable. The key word is mutual accountability. Be committed, ensure full commitment. And that's why we typically don't want people bouncing around teams, do we, Roy?
No, we encourage staying inside of a team. And Phill, this is always a problem when I come in to coach organizations. They typically do something like they're set up as a matrix, where you have a very common practice of, I've got this project. I need the best person for this project. So I'm going to go reach over, grab that one person that has the skill set, and I'm going to bring him on my project for 10% of their time, something like that. Well, 10% of your time is 4 hours a week. What are you going to get done in 4 hours a week? We don't want to do that. We want to build teams that are stable, focused on the product backlog, and focus on moving the work around, not moving people around. So stable, focused teams, incredibly important.
Absolutely. And courage, just having the courage to do the right thing, courage to challenge when the wrong thing is being done. And lastly, being respectful of your team members, not looking at your team members suspiciously and thinking that Phill, all he does is ever pull one story for each sprint. I'm pulling 5 stories. He's so lazy. We don't want to think like that. And what else can we say about respect, Roy?
Yeah, so obviously we want to, this respect actually goes really, really deep. It's a very important thing for us to do. Respect meaning that we appreciate each other in the team. We appreciate your skills. We appreciate your perspectives and ideas, even when they're bad ones, right? Bad ideas are going to happen, but we still respect you for trying and coming up with an idea. We may choose to go a different direction, but that's okay. So this is the true view of diversity in a team. And I'm not talking about just the traditional societal view of diversity, but also diversity of ideas, diversity of perspectives, the human being respecting each other at a very, very deep level. Because if you want to have a great team, it's founded on trust. Trust will not happen without respect, right? So they've got to go hand in hand.
Lovely stuff, Roy. Thank you very much. Well, let's take a look at a question of a controversial nature. First of all, it's very long. And secondly, it might trick you. Let's go ahead and launch the poll. I love these because now you're PMP, you know the drill. Lots of you. For those folks who are not PMPs and watching, don't worry, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to the drill. So just read through it. All right. You have been given a lot of time for this one because I know that you're thinking, I know in the world of Agile, we are not focused on processes and tools, but all right, let's go ahead and end the poll. Don't worry, you'll learn something. 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and end it. And let's share the results. So the good news is you were able to read through the question. The even better news is you will learn something. So Roy, when someone has something of importance to share, we typically in the world of Scrum stay away from the daily. We don't want someone to pop up in a daily stand-up and begin telling you about quality or something that could benefit you. It's just the wrong place, isn't it?
It really is. The daily Scrum, also known as the daily stand-up, the primary purpose there is to look for impediments and resolve. It's not about solutioning. It's about identifying the problems, and we solution later. Probably not the right place to do it. There are better opportunities, right?
Absolutely. And another thing we need to understand in PMI's world, you should be careful when they give you an option that sounds smart, but may not really move you as a team forward or move your reputation along the right channels nicely. So if you're meeting with a senior Six Sigma black belt in your company, obviously this person has shown some value. That's why they are wherever they are. Now, if you dismiss them, even though it says politely explain that on your Agile project, your team rarely focuses on 7 basic quality tools, that's rather dismissive. And is it true, Roy, that we don't even focus on quality in some projects?
We prefer to focus on quality, right? But fitness for purpose is what we're focusing on, right? Quality is incredibly important, but right, but it's not as strict as what you would do in Six Sigma.
Yeah, it's not as strict as Six Sigma. At the same time, you want to ask yourself, if I say this to this individual, because you got to read the setup, the layout. She suggests that she might be able to help out your team by coming by one day to review best practices. In the spirit of PMI's respect, and in the spirit of PMI's being able to entertain and work with executives and people in the company, you have to be careful how you dismiss people. If you dismiss people, dismissing people is probably not the best way to go.
Yeah.
So
I would also suggest, just very quickly, Phill, that Agile is very much about embracing practices from everything, right? Whatever seems like a good idea, let's talk about it and determine if it's going to work for us.
absolutely.
So someone coming in explaining Six Sigma, which not a lot of people really understand that well. I mean, yes, of course, there's certifications, but an Agile team, probably not so much.
Yeah.
There may be some value that we can get from it. So discussion is valuable.
Exactly.
Whether we do it or not, that's a different case.
Exactly. So we don't want to dismiss a senior person like that, because like Roy said, we got to be open. And the word wow, as Chandra, our friend, used in the beginning, it's a nice way of underscoring the importance of everything we've been talking about. There's a place for every nugget we've had today. So dismissing the person, even though it's true that in the world of Agile, we typically don't go, but there might be some value in knowing a little bit about it. Yeah, a little nugget. So it leaves us with B and C. We know that in a review meeting, it is not where we would ask someone to come teach us. It's where the stakeholders need to, Roy, what value should our stakeholders get from a review meeting?
So if you look at the Scrum guide, it says the purpose of the review is to inspect the increment, meaning the team has built something, and this gives the stakeholders, whoever our stakeholders are, the opportunity to look at what was produced and say, yeah, I like where you're going with this, or no, I don't. So we're looking for feedback, and also building trust with our stakeholders. And also they can see the progress. Remember the principle number 7, right? Primary measure of progress is working product. So this is that opportunity for them to see progress. And it gives them a level of comfort and builds up trust as well.
Gotcha. Probably not the best place to call someone in to come teach the team something.
Yep.
So, Roy, is there anything wrong in asking or inviting someone to a retrospective?
There really isn't, as long as the whole team respects that and asks for it. If the team says, yeah, this is our meeting, I'd really rather not invite an outsider, then respect that and maybe set something up separately, a
Yeah.
separate meeting, a JAD session or something, that's okay
Mm.
to do that.
Mhm.
A retrospective is a good place to talk about how to improve, but it has to be the team's responsibility, right?
Absolutely. So this one is kind of in your face. It pushes you, it makes you think. And if
Mhm.
you read in the beginning, you are not the Scrum Master, you are one of the team members. So it even underscores the reason why you should think about the question from a neutral perspective. You're not the Scrum Master, the product owner, but we know that on a team, we're equals anyway. So there's no bias here. The best thing is the retrospective, and you can hear the person out and learn something, like Roy said. So the answer to this is C. It's a very controversial question, but the reason why I included it is one, it was written by one of the early adopters of ACP, Mark, one of my buddies, and two, he's been certified as a PMP as well and an ACP. So I felt it was an interesting perspective because a lot of trainings could just focus on one person's questions, but here you got questions from Roy, you got questions from me, got questions from Mike, got questions from another guy who works with us. So it's a very healthy combo, a gumbo, a gumbo combo of questions. All right, so I know that this will make you really think, but it will also unearth the different, Roy, we don't call them ceremonies anymore, the different events is the word?
Events. They are now officially called events. Yes.
Events. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, I know. And that's why we call it a masterclass, because on the surface, we would say, don't invite anyone. But when we say don't invite anyone, we're looking for that consensus, for that agreement. If there's agreement, then yes. And this didn't show any pushback. Usually on your exam, you're going to get two options that sound plausible, but one is more than the other. And D is against that respect clause. So you should still respect people, even if they're not, in quote, already in an agile mindset. You could just still learn from them, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So Agile Vegas is really more whatever happens here stays here. So you got to remember to tell people, hey, you're coming in here, but remember, typically this is a private meeting. So
yeah, and think of think about the purpose of a retrospective. The retrospective is to get better.
that's true.
Learning something new from someone is hopefully getting better anyway, right? But again, I think the key there is make sure the team agrees to do this. If the team has other things they feel are more important to discuss, that should take priority. They all have to agree that it's okay to bring somebody into this meeting.
Lovely stuff, Roy. All right, let's move on.